Well, my husband and I and the family, we went away for Passover, for Pesach, and we spent about 8 days, 8 or 9 days with 1,000 people. Really, 1,000 people at this beautiful, beautiful retreat. We had a fantastic, fantastic time. I spoke, my husband spoke. We had a great family vacation. Now, it was very interesting because we were with all of these people, and almost, most of the adults were married. And when was the last time you spent day upon day upon day with a bunch of married couples? Really? So many of the meals were some inside, some outside, and you couldn't help but share tables with people, and even when you're just walking through or hanging out, and you can't help but overhear how people talk to each other. Now, I have to tell you, it was kind of shocking to me how husbands and wives talk to each other. Really. I guess I just don't hang out with a lot of couples, and I don't. It was sort of an anthropological study in marriage. That when people don't think you're listening to them, how they speak to one another. They are often, their tone is very dismissive, often very critical, sometimes demeaning. And I had to hold back from saying something. Like, how can you speak to your husband that way? And I would often glance at the other spouse who didn't know that anybody was listening or heard the interaction. And often the other spouse didn't look angry. They looked defeated. They looked beaten up. This is not good. I don't know about you, but marriage is a lot of work and it takes a lot of effort. And it's hard to be at your best and to speak in even or positive tones all the time. But my husband says you have to speak to your spouse at the very minimum how you would speak to a favorite client. Would you be short-tempered? Would you be demeaning? Would you be combative? No. How we speak to the most important people in our lives, our parents, our spouse, our children. And somebody else said, we should always speak to the people in our lives, imagining that someone else is listening. I'm sure you are like me, that when you know somebody's watching, well, you're so much more patient with your kids, so much more positive, and you let things go. Well, somebody is always listening. It's the Almighty. And I think he was probably pretty disappointed to listen to how husbands and wives treat each other. We have to raise the bar. Really. I wish we could record each other and hear how we sound. But I'm here to tell you, it's not pretty. I'm Lori, almost live.